Howdy, this video is going to be a bit different from my other videos. I recently watched Avatar Fire and Ash and I had pretty conflicted thoughts about it. In this video, I'll present both the things I liked and the issues I saw to use them as examples to inform my own storytelling. Now, this video is going to contain heavy spoilers for all three movies, so you have been warned. Anyways, here goes. To begin with, things I liked, or at least aspects of the movie criticized by others I see online, but did not present that much of an issue to me. Neytiri's relation to Spider. I actually thought Neytiri's change of heart regarding Spider was a neat plot point. It didn't come off as abrupt as I thought it would. The first half of the movie was basically Jake trying to convince Neytiri of the human child's innocence while using himself as an example. I don't actually think Neytiri has a strict Pandora for the Na'vi mindset, as shown by her tolerance towards the humans on Jake's side who stayed on Pandora. It's probably because she knows Spider is the son of her nemesis. I think the movies did decently well in mellowing her character, as shown in the scene with her frantically washing off the Mankwang clan body paint as Jake takes Spider into the woods. The Mankwang clan basically symbolizes the polar opposite of Neytiri's clan: radical, anti-Gaia peace, ruthless, and loyal to a fault. Neytiri washing off their war paint symbolizes her breaking away from this more and more extreme path she has set herself on. Now, you may be questioning that last part, loyal to a fault. How is Neytiri going against it? Well, if you think about it, faith plays a big part in Neytiri's life. Spider's existence, to her being the same as the Colonel's, a symbol representing the whole of human evil, goes against her faith. Her family's tolerance of the kid, to her, will be a mockery of Eywa, basically. To embrace Spider means she has broken from this path of religious radicalism she spent the last two movies proving that she has. However, Neytiri isn't a religious fanatic, a fact made abundantly clear by the first movie. Her hate for Spider stems solely from her not knowing any other way to express her frustration and not being able to protect her family. So the scene when Neytiri changes her mind is actually really well rounded off for her character. That entire sequence, when Jake leads Spider into the forest and Neytiri on her knees by the river, to me, is the most evocative sequence in the last two movies, by a lot, even though the resolution to it was a bit cheesy and easily predicted. Characterization with Ronal, the Water Tribe priestess. Regarding the priestess Ronal, I actually didn't feel like they did her in that bad, though her death was still kind of unnecessary. Her arc somewhat mirrored Neytiri's lie, with her actually being someone deeply religious in her faith of Eywa, and consequently also kind of discriminatory in her position. I think she actually has some similarities with Varang, here being that while the latter recognizes the existence of a greater power but deliberately went against it, Ronal recognizes the existence of a greater power within someone whom she previously thought was below her, and in the end was forced to reconcile with her prior prejudices. Her scene in the cove with Kiri was somewhat a redemption and conclusion for her character. But damn, did you have to go into battle with 9 months pregnant? Seriously, you Na'vi need better logistics if you're gonna let pregnant mothers onto the battlefield. On a different note, I believe her prejudice against Neytiri, like Neytiri, also stems from her own insecurities on the safety of her people. Quaritch's character nuance. While Quaritch's revival in Avatar 2 and his subsequent place in Avatar 3 is a bit redundant, his new character actually presents a lot of potential. Remember, this Avatar is the collective sum of all of Colonel Quaritch's memories and choices before the man launched a full-fledged genocide on the Na'vi. Although one could argue that he is the same person, he is the same person until the point of instigating all-out war. So technically, his arc could be really interesting, and his interactions with Spider humanizes him in this way. Him saving Spider, a kid technically not his, mirrors Spider's act in the finale of the second movie, saving a father technically not his, and brings this messy circle of parenthood back around. My gripe with their relationship is simply that it's not expanded upon, which turns it into wasted potential. However, this change in character, subtle as it may be, is still pointed out by Jake, and ends up leading to welcome team-ups, that is inherently more reasonable than brow-raising. Now for things I dislike. Structure and payoff. The entire movie felt like it was feeding up to a final battle, with the structure of the plot becoming redundant. The film is more than 3 hours too, so it's only stretching out a resolution already predicted by the audience. I just didn't expect them to do the whole Turuk Makto plot device again. Regarding that little MacGuffin, I'd also like to point out that, at least to me, the world building seemed rushed. They introduced the Wind Traders, Varang, a lot more of the human city, Bridgehead, and a bit more on the Tulkuns. But yes, they did so in rapid succession and more so with the purpose of dangling a shiny new bauble in front of the audience. Hey, look at this new shiny thing, isn't it cool? The entirety of Avatar 2 is built around this culture of the aquatic Na'vi, so it's much more well-rounded and focused, whereas Avatar 3 forces at least 2 more cultures into the equation, with little screen time for the audiences to build any tangible connection to them. The first 1/3 of Fire and Ash has set up all of these intriguing fields for exploration, but fail to deliver fully on any of them. World building, especially Eywa. One of the most fascinating things about the first Avatar movie is the figure of Eywa, this godlike being who's said to embody the spirit of Pandora. Fire and Ash, while making some elaborations on how Eywa operates, ended up raising more questions than answers. People can eat the floaty jellyfish? If Eywa can alter human morphology through physical matter, for example roots and fungi, does that mean she isn't actually a deity but some larger creature that lives in the mycorrhizal networks of Pandora instead, like a hive mind entity? This would explain why Eywa didn't help Varang's clan. The fire burned away all the roots, so Eywa was effectively cut off from the Rhizosphere. She was cut off from them. But no, they had to make Eywa have a human face, Blade Runner 2049 reference, and reside in a crude imitation of Avatar The Last Airbender's spirit world. Carrie, too, is entirely objectified. She serves little actual purpose in the plot other than being a MacGuffin who replaces Neytiri's role in the first movie, summoning Mother Eywa. Whereas the audience actually empathize with Neytiri, as the first movie strictly focused on her character and raised the stakes extremely high, no one cares enough for Carrie since her character, while trying to be deep in terms of her conflict of not having a biological father and all that Eywa mumbo jumbo, is just shallow overall. Sure, she likes Spider. So what? The culmination of her affection was really just a setup to the unexplored plot point of Spider becoming Na'vi. There's no personality in it. Theme, or message. Eywa again. Building on that Eywa note, I would like to point out the blatant robbery of a satisfying payoff Eywa had wrenched from us audiences. One of the main things I disliked about Fire and Ash was its take on faith. Eywa, at the end of the line, is a plot device. Eywa is, quite literally, so overused, so bloated, and so boring a plot device that at the midpoint of the movie I quite literally turned to my friend and said, "Watch this. The funny blue cat people are gonna be absolutely cooked at the end of the movie, since they're outnumbered, outgunned, and outcompeted by human technology, and one of them, Neytiri, or probably Carrie, Navi Jesus as she is somehow, deliberately set up to be in both Way of Water and this movie, is gonna summon the all-powerful god of the goddamn planet to snuff out a little battle." And she did. Look, if Eywa really was such a big shot, why not just let her unleash a magnetic storm or something on the human settlement? Take out Bridgehead, the root of the issue. It seems Eywa is so focused on being elusive, she forgot she's supposed to be helping. And why did I just think she's supposed to help? See, that's where the movie tripped again. Eywa as a deity and a MacGuffin is really predictable. You just know she's going to be helping the good guys. As a supposed god of nature, she should be more temperament. In the first film, for instance, she flat out ignored Jake when he asked for her help, albeit sending her light jellyfish to him and all. It's like she took a nap. That's personality. Please, Eywa, please. Throw a tantrum or something. Make yourself ambivalent. Stop being a one-dimensional plot device. The worst part of her would be the awareness of every other character of her existence. Like all the different Na'vi tribes call her the same name, the Great Mother. What? How? I mean, all Na'vi speak the same language, so I guess there's that. But still, if you consider it, faith doesn't mean as much when you're dealing with something you know exists. The allure of God in present society stems a lot from the mystery surrounding them. To objectify God robs them of their magnitude and is what led me to theorize that Eywa might be a mycorrhizal entity. For the Na'vi to be fully aware that Eywa exists is like having someone knock on the door of a house whose owner they know is inside. The question hence shifts from are they home to will they answer? And if the answer to that latter question is no, then we get Varang. It's sadly simplistic. Wasted character potential. Loak is a potential man. Everything up until the suicide attempt was so intriguing, and we really get to know him through his narration. But then he runs off on a side quest for basically half the movie to further a plot point, the Tokuns deciding to go to war, that didn't do much at all in the final battle, where they're needed most. On that note, getting the Tokuns to join the war wasn't even his original intention. He just wanted to see his big whale friend, saw the friend of said whale friend, and ended up becoming an inadvertent advocate. And in the end, after his whale friend got reinstated into his pod, there was no further mentions of that character arc. Loak dealing with the guilt of accidentally causing his brother's death and the consequent scorn from his father was such a potent area for character development, and while his attempt at suicide did make some sense, if I think about him being a confused, angry, self-loathing teenager at that moment, it felt rushed and insincere. Varang was also wasted potential. With Quaritch's title of a main antagonist being weakened by his truce with Jake, Varang has all the more reason to take the position of a true antagonist. But nope, she became Quaritch's side project. I'm actually quite interested in what the fourth movie would do with her relationship with the now semi-transformed Colonel though. Overall, Avatar Fire and Ash is probably the worst of the three movies yet. It had a lot of potential, but failed to deliver on nearly every interesting plot point. There were some traces of world building, but it really left more questions than answers. If I were to direct it, I would probably spend a considerably longer time detailing the Wind Traders, Spider's relationship with Quaritch, Jake's relationship with Loak, and Varang's relationship with Quaritch or the humans. It seems Cameron was way too focused on making a visual spectacle and less on an actual story. That will conclude my analysis of Avatar Fire and Ash.